What's going on, everyone? So there have been a lot of reports that have been coming out that the Los Angeles Lakers, the front office, have really been working hard with Anthony Davis and just all the various aspects, the coaching search. Obviously, I'm sure that once we get into free agency, officially into free agency, you'll see a lot of just dialogue and conversation with Anthony Davis. Now, obviously, he's the star, right? So there's always going to be those back and forth. There's always going to be that narratives, right? Same thing with LeBron James. I'm sure that the Lakers are still fully involved in conversations and dialogue with LeBron. I know LeBron and Rich Paul have kind of said like, we just, want to stay out of it. Kind of do your thing. Whatever you guys want to do, we're cool with. I don't fully buy that. I do think to an extent LeBron knows like, hey, I only have a couple years left, right? The Lakers need to do what's best for them and put themselves in the best position and kind of build around Anthony Davis. I mean, LeBron for the last few years has talked heavily about how, this is Davis' team. He's the guy. He's the number one option, right? Even though LeBron is still magnificent and spectacular, he still is getting older, right? And we only have him for another year or two. Now, I know a lot of people think like, oh, what if he leaves? What if he leaves? I don't believe he is, right? Obviously, that's a real option. Obviously, that's something that can absolutely happen, which means then Anthony Davis is currently, unless you pull off a trade for a Trae Young or something like that, is your sole superstar, right? But I fully believe LeBron James is sticking around. Again, I could be wrong. I've been wrong before, but I said the same thing last go around, and I was like, don't worry about it. Now, after the next contract, I could see LeBron James leaving. Right, so if he signs, let's say he signs a 2-year deal and then let's say or 3-year with the player option the final year, right? That's a lot of talks about what LeBron could potentially sign. Now, if he does do something like that, then I think when that contract's over, I think that there's several reasons he could leave, right? One, just to retire. Two, I could see him, maybe going to Cleveland for a year and retiring, or if another team ends up drafting Bronny, I could see, LeBron going and maybe playing with that team for a year or whatever. So I don't think LeBron's going to be a Laker forever necessarily, but I do think we have him locked in for the next few years. He's got another kid that's going through the ranks, right? He wants to be in LA. He originally came to LA for more reasons beyond basketball. Said that from the beginning. I mean, if he really wanted to go and win multiple championships solely like just basketball reasons, there were several options that made more sense for him than just going to the Lakers. But it's about life after basketball. His family wanted to be there, right? We see that now. But regardless, you got to start positioning yourself along with Anthony Davis for the future, right? You got to start, if you're going to hire a new coach, you want Anthony Davis's blessing because he's the guy that's under contract for the next several seasons, right? He's the guy that after LeBron James is going to be on this roster and is going to be one of hopefully not the only superstar, but one of the superstars on this team. Hopefully when LeBron leaves, we either have a guy, whatever, Max Christie turns into star or whatever. I'm not saying he will, but I'm saying like maybe it's homegrown or we end up trading for somebody or we land somebody in free agency where we're just kind of swapping LeBron. LeBron leaves and it's like, okay, we got this guy, whoever that may be. But you really do want to focus on Anthony Davis and just, again, build the roster around and alongside him, right? And look, LeBron James has said the same thing, right? Like, you got to build, you got to look around Anthony Davis. Luckily, everything that you kind of want for Anthony Davis, you want for LeBron as well, right? Like, you want playmakers, you want another scorer, right? You want big athletic defensive two-way wings. You want, another big man potentially, right? Like, there's a lot of things that you want to put alongside AD that you also want to put alongside LeBron, even another star, even if the Lakers do go the star route, which I still really think that that's ultimately what's going to happen if they can. Like if a star becomes available, I fully believe the Lakers land him. Right? I think if the Lakers really have a real chance at getting a Donovan Mitchell or a Trae Young or a DeJounte or whomever, I do think ultimately that person will be on the Lakers rather than the depth route. I know there's kind of reports that are like, hey, Lakers are kind of looking in the depth route. I know, with the whole Dan Hurley thing, like that is something that, would make sense to kind of go for depth route. But even with that, like it still makes sense to get another star. And then it's more so about creating this cog that can be the engine of cycling players alongside your stars, right? And I just think it makes sense for now and the future, right? You get another guy that pairs alongside LeBron that can help take pressure off of LeBron, especially as he gets older. We've seen him look gassed at times during the regular season, look gassed even in the Denver series, right? So regardless, like the Lakers need to pivot alongside Anthony Davis, right? Now, I think LeBron is also kind of appearing to be more open to like, hey, you know, my opinion doesn't matter as much as it did in the past because I think he's aware of the situation. I think he's aware of the circumstances. I don't think he's oblivious to it. If this was 27-year-old LeBron or even 32-year-old LeBron, this would probably be a completely different, everything would probably be different, right? Also, the Lakers probably be much better. But nonetheless, right, it's just, I think LeBron understands, like, hey, like, I'm going to sign a new contract to be along for the ride, so to speak, to kind of just play through, make some money, watch my other kid kind of grow through the ranks, right, Bryce, and keep my family happy until I'm ready to either go play with my son or, retire a Cav or whatever I end up doing, right? He came here for his farewell tour, so to speak. Right. And so I think, and I know some people point to like that and LeBron kind of trying to stay out of things as like, oh, this means LeBron isn't staying. This means LeBron's leaving. Like, I don't necessarily think that. And again, I could be completely and totally wrong, right? We get news while you're watching this video that LeBron plans to sign with the Sixers or something like that. Which, look, I think if he wanted to win a championship, I do think Philadelphia, depending on what the Lakers do this offseason, obviously, the Lakers make some key moves and hire a good coach and put themselves in a better position, then, maybe that changes. But currently, as it stands, no pun intended, I think Philly does make the most sense, right? You're in a weak East. You get to play alongside Joel Embiid and Tyrese Maxey. They could still, they could give LeBron the max and add some added depth, right? I think that, the only team that you'd really be competing with at that point is like the Knicks and the Celtics. I think you're good there. I don't really believe in Milwaukee personally. Again, could be wrong in that regard. All the other teams, like, I think still are a couple pieces away. But nonetheless, right? Like, I think if he really does, like, but it would still surprise me, right? Like, Philly might have been the best option for him last go around, right? Like, even the last time he became a free agent when he re-upped with the Lakers, Philly made a lot of sense. And then even originally, before he ever came to Lakers, Philly made a lot of sense. And yet he still ended up coming to the Lakers. I just believe that we are in this position to where LeBron understands, like, hey, this is AD's team, right? AD's the guy. He's been pushing hard for AD to be the guy. This past season was like kind of the first time and since like maybe the bubble where Anthony Davis looked like the guy, right? Anthony Davis was spectacular on both sides of the basketball. He looked dominant. I think a lot of it was just the failures of Darvin Ham and just not properly utilizing him at times. Right? You'd see, like, how many times do we see in the fourth quarter Anthony Davis not even getting the basketball? Right? You have like 35 and you're like, oh man, this dude's about to go off for 50 and just wouldn't get the basketball again. And you're just like, what is going on? Right? Like, get your guy the basketball. And like that, it doesn't only fall on the head coach, right? That falls on, again, the head coach, but it also falls on the playmakers, the primary ball handlers, right? D'Angelo Russell, Austin Reeves, LeBron James, right? Especially LeBron talks so heavily about how this is AD's team and AD's this and AD's that. Well, you think you'd get him the basketball more, right? Like, so, and then it's also on Anthony Davis also, right? Like, because it's Anthony Davis's job to be more demanding, to be more assertive, to demand the basketball, to get established position and tell, hey, get me the basketball, or get into the huddle and be like, hey, what are we doing? Get me the basketball, right? Like, why have I not touched the basketball, right? Like, it's up to him to also kind of hit home and harp on like, hey, dude, like, we're not playing this. No, get me the ball. Right. So hopefully with whoever the new head coach is, right? Like hopefully we end up seeing that coach really kind of push Anthony Davis being more assertive, especially in the fourth, right? Because it hasn't really been the other quarters. It's been primarily the fourth quarter. And it's like, he's your best player. Like, he's supposed to be your guy, right? So, but I do like that the Lakers are just much more focused on Anthony Davis and building what they're building for Anthony Davis and getting his input and his take on, like the head coaching position. And, again, free agents probably going to be a big thing, and potential trades and all that. And that's one of the reasons why there's a lot of talk about Trae Young. I know a lot of people don't like the idea of Trae Young. I'm not super sold on Trae Young either. But mine is more so because you have LeBron James on the team, where it's like, if you didn't have LeBron, I think it would make a lot more sense, right? Like if LeBron did ultimately leave this offseason, then I think, yeah, go get Trae, right? Because I just think him and Anthony Davis as a duo, as a pairing could potentially be special. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion. Pass a question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel? What are your thoughts? Do you like the idea of the Lakers really kind of building around Anthony Davis, him being very vocal and a big point? Again, Anthony Davis has always been, I'm sure, vocal, and they've ran everything by LeBron and AD, but it seems this time it's much more Anthony Davis focused rather than LeBron and AD focused. And I mean that in that particular order, where it's like, hey, LeBron, what do you want? Where I think, or, what the sense is based on, what's being said and, the reports and stuff that are going out, is that, like, before it was LeBron is the final answer, where I think now it's Anthony Davis. Like if LeBron wants something, but AD wants something different, we're going with what AD wants rather than what LeBron wants, where I think LeBron would have been the trump card prior, where I think AD is now that. But again, love to hear your thoughts and opinions, however you feel, down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. So we enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one.